3, 2.
After 10,000 years, I'm free. It's time to conquer Earth.
Alpha, Reader's Escape. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitudes.
Zeitgeist Zealots. Welcome to Zeitgeist Zealots. This is a podcast where lifelong friends discuss movies, TV shows, video games, comics, maybe. Well, TV shows based off comics, at least.
Definitely that.
And everything that's happening in real life as well. Well, not everything, but the interesting stuff, like Don Lemon. Take it away, Mage.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that was a really the Don Lemon conversation is supposed to comes organically later on the news, but first we'll start organically. Yeah,
wow.
I mean, yeah.
It's all connected. Gamer tags Lemon Lover 69. All right, go.
You might be lemon loving this. Brad Winderbaum confirmed that Marvel Zombies is going to have a TVMA rating. It's going to be animated,
right.
so,
Black Widow zombie boobs, bring it on.
Get ready for some Scarlett Johansson. I mean, if it's a voice actress, would her boobs be as hot as if it was Scarlett Johansson acting it? I mean, I know, that's what I'm saying. They're still the same animated boobs, right? They're still drawn over in Japan or whatever, but the voice actor changing it, right? If it's Scarlett Johansson or if it's a Scarlett Johansson sound alike, like the placebo effect. Like, I wonder how your brain would interpret that. Because I'll be honest, I still have feelings for this very giant snake from the Jungle Book. I have no idea why they made Scarlett, like that snake voiced by Scarlett Johansson, why they made her so fucking seductive. I have absolutely no idea. That's super weird. But anyway, you know what's super weird? I think I found a infinite money loophole, guys. Have you heard about this company called Black Girl Gaming?
No.
Well, if you couldn't guess, it's probably not catered towards you, you straight white men, for the listeners at home. But their CEO says, in the interview she did back in 2021 that just resurfaced, she said that she doesn't hire white people. So I feel like if you're a game developer and you're down on your luck right now, you could probably just send that resume over to her when she's hiring, and then when she rejects you, you just print out that email, get that link off of Twitter, and take her to court. Boom.
Is this the one that's doing the Black Panther video game?
Yes, she is in charge. Yeah, she's not in charge. She's working on the Black Panther game for Marvel now.
Well,
and she comes from Sweet
I just hope they get all the good Black Panther villains in there, like, what's his name? Killmonger, David Duke.
Donald Trump, Joe Biden.
Yeah, I was about to say. Maybe I guess Joe Biden.
Hey, isn't it? Wait a second. Can we take a second? I think it's okay for 4 white men to take a second and applaud the fact that it was so hard to come up with well-known racists that we had to dive all the way back to David Duke. That's good, dude.
Well,
that's pretty good.
If you want to pull up classic Black Panther villains, you'll see that there's one called Venom, but it's Venom with 2 M's. It's Venom with 2 M's, and it's not the one that we know of, but it's a Venom who controls snakes. So that'd be kind of cool. Like, if you're fighting snakes in the maybe voiced by Scarlett Johansson, who knows? In one of the boss battles, there's actually another Black Panther villain called Carnage, but spelled Karnaj.
Weird.
So we have Venom and Carnage in this. Yeah, I mean, look this up. This is for real. We have Venom and Carnage in the new Black Panther video game. That'd be the way to go.
Hey, we can't sue ourselves for ripping ourselves off with the names.
Sony can, but it's it's spelled differently.
But way back when I'm sure Marvel first wrote these as comics.
And we can't forget the best Black Panther of them all, villain of them all, Wind Eagle.
Who is Wind Eagle?
He's just a guy who has eagle wings on. And he flies around and he harasses Black Panther. I guess he shits on Black Panther from like the skies. I mean, Black Panther can't fly, so that's like the perfect adversary right there.
It's not the worst villain. You know who that reminds me of?
Let us know in the comment section below. Who's your favorite?
Who's your favorite Black Panther villain?
All 5 of them.
Yeah.
Of the 5.
You know that last guy, what was his name? Windhawk?
Wind Eagle.
Wind Eagle.
We're gonna change our name. We're gonna be the Wind Eagle show from now on.
He reminds me of that goofball Kite Man from Harley Quinn season 1. You know what I'm
Wind
talking
Eagle
about?
Wind Eagle could kick Kite Man's ass.
Hey, you shut your mouth. Kite Eagle could kick Wind Eagle's, or Kite Man could kick Wind Eagle's ass. You get out of here. And Kite Man has friends. He's got Poison Ivy and her girlfriend Harley Quinn, and that includes that good guy Shark. Anyway, moving on.
Hold on.
Okay.
I got to say this. If there's ever a crossover between Marvel and DC again, there was an issue where I think Sabretooth fused with the Joker to become the Hyena.
Nice.
So if Wind Eagle ever fuses with Kite Man, they'll be Kite Eagle.
Kite Eagle away.
And I want that, and I want to see that.
Yeah, I guarantee you,
that
at the state of this superhero landscape, and especially with, like we talked about in the last episode, check it out if you haven't already, with James Gunn's exorbitant budget for Superman, right? They're going to need $900 million just to break even. So that franchise, like I was talking about in the comments, the comment section pretty much agreed with me on the short we put out there, that it's dead on arrival. Like, they're not going to make $1 billion, not in this current landscape. They're not going to make $1 billion. So they're not going to make 10 more years of DC.
See how much money you can get back.
James Gunn's pretty much done. So, you know, good luck. I mean, they were going to fold in the Batman, right? With Robert Pattinson or whatever. Shout out to the Weekly Planet. But now they're delaying that too. So, you know, I think
Hashtag bring back Peacemaker.
They should, yeah.
I think it's coming out later. I heard that Batman Part 2 is be filming next year, which is, I think it's gonna be like 4 years before we get, or it's gonna be like it's been like what, 2 years now since the last movie came out, so it'll be like another 2 years before we see the sequel. Movie that came out 2 years ago.
Hey, do you think if they have 4 years, do you think the composer can make more than 5 notes for the next theme song?
You mean 4 notes?
Dum. I don't know. I imagine there's a 5th note at the very end. I fall asleep every time.
I don't know. Is that like a high C? Frank Zappa would know.
More like a high see you later. On to the next one. Guys, have you ever wondered if your YouTube videos are being tracked and monitored by the government? Because they are. Did you know that? I mean, we always joke about it in the conspiracy community, but no, it recently came out. I've got an article here. I've written some of it down, but it's from Mashable. If anyone's interested in it. If you've watched certain YouTube videos, investigators demanded your data from Google. So I just wanted to go over a couple of highlights here as this article, I think, originally goes off of a Forbes article. But if you've ever jokingly wondered if your search or viewing history is going to put you on some kind of list, your concern may be more than warranted. In now unsealed court documents reviewed by Forbes, Google was ordered to hand over the names, addresses, telephone numbers, and user activity of YouTube accounts and IP addresses that watch select YouTube videos. That was for certain YouTube videos between January 1st and January 8th, 2023. But this is just the one thing we know about. Like, what else are they asking to be handed over? I mean, that's the obvious one, is the day after January 5th. But what else are they asking for that, you know, some kind of Freedom of Information Act, some kind of Forbes or the New York Times or Matt Taibbi, right? What hasn't the journalist discovered yet? You know what I'm saying? If you watched
a reliable source,
that reliable source, get out of here. But let's see.
Or primary source rather than like a secondary source, which they seem to always get their, you know, information from.
The mandated data retrieval is worrisome itself, according to privacy experts. Federal investigators argue the request was legal, justified as the data, quote, would be relevant and material to an ongoing criminal investigation, including by providing identification information about the perpetrators, citing justification by other police forces around the country. In a case out of New Hampshire, police requested similar data during the investigation of bomb threats that were streamed live to YouTube. So That seems like a weird one, but a little bit. Well, I mean, anytime I don't know. I just don't like the data. I don't like the government looking into people, right? To imply that if one of the I don't know maybe 20 people watch this guy live stream and blow himself up, terrible, awful stuff. Don't do that, obviously, right? But now the government's going to start tracking you because you clicked on that, and like, how long are they going to track you for clicking on that? Like, if you're some kind of 10 or 12-year-old and I don't know, your mom's getting a haircut, so you've got her cell phone, you're scrolling on YouTube, and some guy goes live, and you click on that. Is how long is the government tracking you? Or if he's on his own cell phone, a 15-year-old, like, is he going to be on a government watch list for like the next 60, 70 years until he's dead? I don't know. Like, I don't like government watch lists. Just something to keep an eye out for. That sucks. But what doesn't suck is Invincible. So let's move on to that.
Yeah.
Unless you guys have thoughts. Do you guys have thoughts?
Yeah, that's not good.
Nice.
So, but what was good, Invincible. So it picked up from last episode. We had 2 cliffhangers that resolved. I think like they both resolved like the first 5 minutes.
Thank goodness, because I was sweating for a whole week. Well,
yeah, I mean a little bit more than that, but yeah, we'll talk about the Sequid one first. They basically Invincible had to take the bomb to disrupt the Sequid hive mind, and
well, first Rex had to finish it. How about that time they were fighting the Sequids off from Rex, and he just didn't lose focus at all, even when jumped.
I don't think that's Rex. Rex is the guy who lost his hand. Robot, yeah.
Clone of Rex.
Rudy.
That's true. 2D Rudy Robot Rex. Yeah, Rex Jr.
So it's weird they didn't have Zachary Quinto come back to voice that version of the character, because he's still voicing Robot when he's like in his armor, but he's not voicing Rudy, who's like a clone of Rex, but the voice actor for Rex is not voicing Rudy. It's the same guy who voices Immortal.
Hey man, we're here to save money on this budget.
Hey, it's that's the power of X-Ray. When you're watching Amazon Prime, you can see who's voicing who.
No, it's really nice. I love X-Ray.
So yeah, they had to. I remember like Invincible had to fight off Immortal because he's just like, I'm faster and stronger than you.
And you know that.
And Immortal's like, damn it, I'm being sidelined like Piccolo and Dragon Ball Z after the Frieza saga.
But dude, at least he admitted it. I'm glad they didn't like dig down or whatever, be like, oh no, I'm stronger, and they just like spend like 30 seconds fighting each other, and the sequence like take over. Like, that been so cliche. But Immortal like literally just like, which, all right, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that's happening. The Immortal's been around for hundreds of years. That guy's got an ego the size of the moon. There's no way he's giving that up to Invincible. But we move on.
So yeah, they escape from, or they get the Sequids off the astronaut, but they attack Eve and is it Rudy they get, or
Rudy? No, they get Eve and Rudy, which was not so good, right? Because it's like, oh yay, they saved the day, that was easy, and then it's like, oh, not so fast.
It really just shows you like it doesn't matter if you rescue one person and there's like another person they can like latch onto and
but
take over.
Yeah.
Then they kill him pretty.
That's why they were so dangerous, but they couldn't do anything to Martians. Just nothing else.
And it takes 2 seconds. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience to fire one more pulse over. I'm
not sure if this has enough battery. Boop.
Yeah, it just happens to have enough when they get close, I guess.
That was.
I think they didn't want to waste it, so they had to get them together to do it in one go.
Yeah, because he said he wasn't sure how much battery power is left.
Well, luckily, it did work.
They decided to bring Shapesmith with them, even though he was the reason the Sequids were coming to Earth.
Yeah, probably a good move.
Which I love that whole scene where it's resolved and they see the Martians and they're like, you must, give us the betrayer. I love it.
But what are you going to do with them?
There's a spaceship and they're running away.
Yeah. Yeah, and when he just says death, and he's like, oh, okay.
I understand.
And then it cuts to them flying away.
Yeah.
That was actually right out of the comic too. That was funny.
A slight issue I have with this show, and a slight issue I have with the comic, is the Superman syndrome that it has.
Mm-hmm.
1 second mark. Invincible. He's like crazy powerful, then the next he's kind of like, and then the next he's crazy powerful again.
Oh yeah.
And the scene where he's taking out all the spaceships by literally just flying through it, you know, it just seemed out of place, even though it was super awesome to watch. It just seemed out of place where in the Sequid fight, you know, he's like not that powerful for, you know, like I get it.
Well, he was squishing them. There was just
it's not consistent.
A crazy amount.
I just didn't feel it was consistent. There was more like he's like, oh, I'm getting my butt kicked way too much. Versus all of a sudden he's
I
like,
wouldn't say he was getting his butt kicked, but there was just not a whole lot you could do.
It was more of an
just
annoyance.
Keep punching
was
through
more
them.
of an annoyance than actual threat. I mean, they were a threat.
Yeah, and just too many to really do much.
I think about it like Jackie
I guess
Chan.
if he's at the power level he usually is, he really could just stand there and they're not really doing anything.
Yeah, I just feel like so far this season, you know, it's the same problem in the comic books at times, is the power level creeps way too high, and then to like compensate for that, they like creep it way down low, and just that ebb and flow with his powers.
Just the inconsistency is annoying.
Like, meh. Yep.
Well, the other cliffhanger that was resolved this episode was Rex.
Thank goodness.
Wait, hold on.
Lizard.
Oh,
really quick before we get to Rex and King Lizard, we have to have an Amazon Prime commercial.
Yes, we do.
In North Carolina, because it is so jarring watching this season.
What's?
So basically, they have commercials now.
Yeah, I complained about this on the last episode.
With Prime,
yeah.
And it totally is so jarring and so like, and I don't even live in North Carolina, but I got nothing but Kevin Hart yelling about betting in North Carolina while I'm trying to watch Invincible, and it's just like, come on.
Yeah, wait until you try to watch Rings of Power.
The government and all these companies like are tracking you, and they can't even differentiate between North Carolinians and South Carolinians. Like they'll get all your consumer data, but they can't like figure out like, oh, they live in South Carolina. Let's not show them Kevin Hart betting for.
Well, they also bought your cell phone data, and they know that you travel to North Carolina, so they're just going to go ahead and send it to.
But you can't bet unless you live in South Carolina, right? Well, you can like go to like a betting booth.
Yeah, you just trade vapes. You find the high schooler, and you trade vapes for bets. This is
exactly my point right now. It is so distracting and jarring that it takes you away from it. So boo on Amazon Prime for forcing us to watch commercials. I don't mind watching commercials at the beginning of the show. Fine. That's what you want to do. But do not have it during. This is not cable.
Yeah,
it's cool. So interrupting. Yeah.
Also, we pay for Prime, so don't do that shit at all. Everyone offers free 2-day now, right?
Yeah,
this is
cable
horseshit.
Shows are designed for a commercial break when the action or something interesting has stopped, or at least they'll have like a cliffhanger, so it makes sense for there to be a commercial. That's not the case for Amazon Prime. It's just like they'll stop mid scene. So it is jarring.
Did you guys see 2 weeks ago the Star Wars cut going around in South America with the ads edited into Star Wars: A New Hope? Did you guys hear about this? Cerveza Crystal?
Like they edit in like a Kmart logo on Han Solo's shirt or something.
Yeah,
like that.
so like for instance, you know that iconic scene in A New Hope when Luke is talking to Obi-Wan in his hut after he gets saved. And he's like, your father and I were friends, and he goes and he reaches for his lightsaber. So in this cut, and I forgot which South American country they did this, but they decided they didn't want to cut a commercial into the legendary Star Wars. So what they did was they just recreated certain scenes from Star Wars and they added commercials into it. So like instead of Obi-Wan reaching for the lightsaber, his father's lightsaber, he reaches for a beer, and then all of a sudden you just get this beer commercial. It's like Cerveza Crystal, Cerveza Crystal. It is so fucking funny, dude.
I've seen a clip of that and I thought it was fan made.
No, dude, that's legitimately like
what? I totally thought that was just some random Instagram video.
That's sort of like. Please put it in the chat.
That's sort of like a Super Bowl commercial.
I will. I'll throw it in. I'll tweet it out so people can see it.
That's sort of like that Super Bowl commercial.
What? I thought that was a parody.
No, it's so fucking good.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just like that Super Bowl commercial. It's like that scene from Spartacus. Like, I found a Pepsi has Spartacus written on it. Who's Spartacus? I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus. The Roman soldier goes, "Actually, I'm Spartacus." And he drinks the Pepsi. So let's talk about the other cliffhanger that was resolved. King Lizard and Rex. Rex got his head blown or shot. One. So Rex got shot in the head by King Lizard. Did that happen in the comics, Rob?
I was trying to. I think he. God, it was a while since I read that, but I think he might have dodged it. I can't really remember.
Oh,
I
okay.
can go
So
grab one of them real quick.
6 hours later.
I think it was done for shock value. But it didn't seem to make a difference because he just has like a red eye now, and he's going to get a new hand. And Shrinking Ray, of course, is alive. And Duplicate, it appears she's dead, but I have a strong feeling she's going to come back. I think she's still alive.
You think the number starts with 0? I like it. But let's go back, because you just breezed over my boy Rex almost dying. Because I thought for sure Rex was die. No, dude. This is Invincible. They don't pull punches in Invincible.
This isn't Walking Dead.
No, this is Invincible.
Kill a character and then
they don't pull punches. It was a literal curveball. It was a twist, a plot twist that both Rex and Shrinking Ray survived. Because this is not the show where they survive. That's some Marvel BS.
I mean, even Donald, who got blown up, was brought back. And even that Viltrumite who had, like, his intestines spilled out is still alive. So, like, they haven't, like, permanently killed, like, a major character in the show yet, I don't think. If you can correct me if I'm wrong, but, like...
no. Yeah, you corrected me.
He did get shot in the comic.
Yeah, he did get shot.
I think I was thinking of another scene where he just like ducked out of the way or something.
Okay.
Dodging responsibilities.
If we count the first initial Guardians, they killed all of them in the first episode.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and then now Duplicate. So
I don't think Duplicate's dead. I think she.
Something's in my eye.
Dupla alive.
I don't buy it.
He definitely did lose his hand too. Like it all happened pretty much out of the comic.
But as Star Wars has told us, losing hands means nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say in this universe, I'd rather lose a hand, dude. How good is Rex's replacement hand gonna be? It's probably gonna shoot out his little coins that can explode with his touch.
That would be handy.
Unless he's actually touching.
Would be handy. I like that.
Speaking of Gambit, X-Men 987. No, I'm kidding.
Amber and Mark go on an awkward, bad, what feels like a terrible first date, which actually reminded me of when I went to go see my wife graduate from basic training when she went to the Air Force. She was gone for like 8 weeks or whatever. I don't know. But when we were engaged at the time, we had known each other for several years at that point. But when I got there, dude, it was so awkward. It was like going on a first date with a friend from high school. Like you texted her and you're like, oh, she got hot. And you like hit her up on Facebook and you're like, hey, do you want to get drink sometime? And then you go and it's like semi-awkward. Like you guys know so much about each other and yet just kind of, well, it's what happened with Mark and Amber on this date.
Well, it seemed like I think the writers were definitely, we need to make Amber more likable this season. And
for sure.
We know that they're not going to last because we all know that he winds up with Adam Eve.
So spoiler!
They're planting the seeds for their breakup, people because they're just like, well, I can't be a bitch to you for being a superhero because you're helping people.
They keep hitting that.
Like I did last season, and there was so much blowback.
In this DI culture, is he really going to break up with Amber, or is he going to end up with Amber? For some extra DEI points. For some extra DEI points, I think he's going to end up with Amber.
Or Amber gets superpowers or something. Amber becomes new Duplicate. Infinite Amber. I don't know. So maybe because the curse that affects Duplicate will affect someone else.
They give her some compound V.
There we go. Crossover.
This is like Amber would be a lot cooler if Mark gave her some compound D.
Compound P.
Ew, what were you saying?
Okay, fine.
D for the dick. No one calls it P. Dude, if someone came up to you and said, I'm going to give you some vitamin P, I'd be like, are you going to pee on me? That's weird. It's you always refer to it as the D or D. Don't call it the P. Don't do that. That's how you end up in jail as a creeper. That's how you end up on like a list on Facebook somewhere. Did you hear about that guy who's suing 50 women for talking shit about him on Facebook in the group? Anyway, if anyone cares, comment. I'll tweet more about the story. It's hilarious. Maybe we'll talk about it next time. But Cecil tries to recruit Eve. Can't blame him for trying.
Maybe,
She's just so OP.
I mean, I don't know. I couldn't remember. Like the Eve and Amber scenes weren't that interesting. They were just like, because there was like the action heavy beginning, and then there's like the cool down, and that's like the scenes with Amber and Eve. And
look how cool Forrest is. He doesn't like this scene because it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. Because there's two girls talking about a man.
Even before that,
Forrest doesn't like that.
How about that?
Oh wow,
that
this
scene
was so non-Bechdel test. It was like, like Amber and Eve were literally spent like 5 minutes talking about a dude. So yeah, Bechdel is not gonna be happy about that.
Not happy at all.
Maybe they could like have them talk about like the rainforest next time in that way. So yeah, I think they try to make Amber more likable. The writers were just like, yeah, we fucked up last season. We made her into a giant bitch, and all the fans hate her. Like, what were they thinking? Like, yeah, of course fans are gonna hate the girl who's being a bitch to the main character.
Yeah, of course.
So,
did they know she was being a bitch, or did they think she was being a girl boss? Because there's a real distinction between the two. There's a real fine line. Oh, thanks to feedback. Yeah.
So, I mean, at least they were going back and like course correcting. And Robert Kirk's like, how about we like make her more like she was in the comic, like a supportive girlfriend, but can't be with Invincible because she doesn't have powers.
Matt, what do you think? Are you digging Amber more this season than last season?
Not at all.
No, you still not liking her.
I didn't like her last season, and even this season, I'm waiting for them to write her out.
Well, yeah, she's basically just an obstacle between.
Just get us with Eve already. Huh?
Eve.
Yeah. So.
With that said, I would hate it. I would hate it if they wrote it where Amber walks in and Mark is with Eve, and she's like, oh no, oh Mark.
Yeah.
No. I would hate that shit.
I like how they're writing it now.
Mutually leave. Yeah, have them mutually depart and still be friends. Cool with that.
Yeah, because Amber's like,
then just get rid of her.
I can't handle this girlfriend of a superhero lifestyle. He needs someone who understands being a superhero. Cough, cough, like a superhero girlfriend. Yeah, cough, cough.
That strong hint right there.
Yeah.
His roommate's boyfriend came back.
I always forget. I was like, why is Mark's gay friend so close with this astronaut? No, I don't care why he's so.
That wasn't the astronaut. That was like the guy who got abducted by Ezra Miller last season and turned into a robot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
not going to come back to voice.
He was like that. Yeah, and they tried to make him just look normal again.
Oh, I thought that was the astronaut.
Did so much to his body.
No, the astronaut was later in the episode. He came back later in the episode. He has brown hair. This guy has blonde hair.
Oh, but sorry for me to tell.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to become evil?
Yes.
Probably not. I don't know. Well, I mean, I get reactivated as a reanimant. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure, I think D.A. Sinclair comes back in the comics, right?
Yeah, Donald feels for him.
Yeah, he does.
The same thing right now.
I feel for Donald. Probably the most likable character at the moment.
100%.
I think that was actually a good change from the comic, because I think in the comic he just knew he was a robot.
That's cool.
It's good to change.
I think in the comics, like, they're very open about because they like transfer part of his brain.
Because he was showing off his robot abilities at some parts.
Yeah,
when they were wondering.
I love the kind of like PTSD they're showing, and like.
Yeah, which makes more sense. Yeah, I like that change too, because see what he's going through there.
And how he's like shaking, and he's about ready to snap, but he holds it together.
Yeah,
because he's Donald. He's composure at his finest. That's why he was able to hit the button and blow up the house when no one had his hand through his spine.
Yeah,
he's the man. Who else is the man? Or
Alan.
Who was the man? No, Mark Hamill. Coming back as Art.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, guys, if you like...
Joker anymore, but he will voice Invincible's Taylor.
If you like Mark Hamill, stay off of X. Or just don't follow him.
Well, he's getting to like a tip with William Shatner, I think.
I haven't been seeing what he's...
So probably the worst scene of that episode is that crossover.
Oh,
Eve,
yeah.
Amber, Taylor, Mark. I thought it was. I get what they were trying to do, and I get how they were cutting back and forth and trying to be like, but it was just
So
like
close.
saying the same
Yeah,
thing.
we get it. You got to break up with her.
Yeah, I was just there and watching it and waiting for it to end. I'm
You-
like, I get it.
Guy.
I
You know
get
what?
it.
You know what it felt like?
Exposition dump. Exposition dump. Exposition dump.
It felt like someone saw this beautiful, probably French, probably black and white film in French and in film school, where
Right?
they executed this perfectly, and they couldn't remember how to spell the title of the film, so they couldn't go back and rewatch it. So they had to replicate the scenes and the emotions. And it's like, it was close. I see what they were trying to do. You're 100% right. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I like the scene, but I can see why one would. And I would agree that they missed the mark. I like the scene because they tried it. That's so much better than some blasé scene where they just, Amber confronts Mark, right? We go back to season 1 Amber, right? And then Amber's just a big see you next Tuesday to Mark. Like, no, I like this. And then, more importantly...
I do like Art himself, though.
Yes, we get art and we get the comic books or the novels, not the comic books. We get the novels.
I will say this to go on with what you're saying, is that I feel like this is something that would work in an actual film, but when it's animated, it just feels off because you can do so much more with animation, and so you would do this in a real film, kind of like
tentacle porn. I hear you.
Like Ocean's 11 style, how they're jumping back and forth and cutting and doing the cuts. It works that way, but in animation, it's just like there's so much more we can do. Why try it this way?
I feel you.
So I think. What
do you think about the novels? That was cool.
Oh yeah, I guess that was a major discovery.
Seeing them animated out, like I really like that. I was hoping we were gonna get. Here's my problem.
I did like that.
What the fuck, Amazon writers? Have you never ever heard of the rule of 3 before? That's right. Grammatically correct, only 1 negative. What the fuck? Like, you gave us 2 stories? I wanted a 3rd so fucking bad. But that's because the first 2 were so good.
How it's narrated and voiced by Nolan, too.
So my biggest pet peeve about it...
Yes.
Is that it's in first person perspective. I hate first person perspective books. There's like a few exceptions, but it always should be third person omnipotent, and I feel that would have been better if it's not Omni-Man
Matt wants to be
I
God.
did this.
Wait, what?
Always.
No,
the book should be. You said only the Sith speak in absolute, Matt.
With very few exceptions, if they had told a story in third person versus first person, I think it would come off a lot better.
Was the Space Racer story third person?
No, it was in first. He's telling it from he heard about the Space Racer, and the Space Racer can do this. So he's telling a story about a story he heard.
Yeah.
So I guess the Space Racer can't fire the Infinity Ray because he can't fire whenever he wants because it's going to keep going.
Dude, how cool was that? That's one of the coolest weapons ever. Yeah, because it goes on.
It just constantly goes.
Yeah, it'll just keep going and eventually destroy a planet. So he has to like shoot it to where
or a star
destroys the sun.
Yeah, it destroyed a star, so that whole system's gone.
I don't know if you read
remember Space Racer in that gun.
The Star Wars expanded universe before it was sidelined by Disney. They had a ship that could destroy. You'd send it into the star, and it would destroy the star and take out the whole system.
Oh, the Star Destroyer?
And that's kind of like no, it is a Star Destroyer. Nope, does not actually destroy stars.
Oh. But they have a ship that actually does do that. They just call it the
no.
the
So
solar,
in the expanded universe, it's a little like almost A-wing sized ship. That's a weapon that they send into suns that blows up systems. And it was really cool, and I totally got.
Small.
Yep, it's a very small ship, and so in fact, later on in the expanded universe, not to go on a little rant here, they find it parked in a sun, because they feel that no technology could actually retrieve it. So, yeah.
I'm parking on sunshine. Hey.
I guess they need to get the Ragnars, or just like round up some Ragnars and throw them at the Viltrumites. Since apparently they're pretty strong creatures.
I mean, they might not survive the sun, but maybe they could survive a savage planet since they're such savage beasts. What about this one?
High gravity world.
Yeah, so we think
Futurama.
How do you think gravity's gonna play effect? You know what this reminded me of? Just instantly, Dragon Ball Z. Just Goku training in the hyperbolic chamber with like extra gravity. I go G 2G and then 3G and then 10G and then because it's Dragon Ball Z, eventually got to like 10 billion Gs or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God, they got so powerful. It didn't take long before they kind of gave up on the power level.
Dude, it's over 9,000 is all I needed.
Yeah,
so I think
that classic line,
the final scene before like the after credit scene was with Alan and Mark, and Alan has been enhanced because he survived.
Mm-hmm. He's huge now.
Immortal's such a dickhead.
Oh yeah, they fought with Immortal for a little bit. Immortal's sort of like losing it.
He's like, I thought you were Omni-Man. Bitch, that's not even the same color. He's not even. You can't spot a human. That'd be like if I fought a deer and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were Robbie. What the fuck?
Like they're gonna have to go. They're gonna have to arrest Immortal, I think, before this season's over, because he's like breaking pretty badly.
Oh, dude, can you feel? You can feel for Immortal though, right? Like duplicate. All right, so this is way back in the beginning, but I mean, the man's lived forever, hence the word, hence the name Immortal, right? So he's had several women, several lovers, several ladies in the past, especially being handsome and debonair and Abraham Lincoln and a superhero.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln was our best.
They're not immortal.
But they're not duplicate. He's like, it's never felt like this before. And my first thought to myself was like, yeah, you've probably never had a girl who could just make 100 of her and then give you a blowjob. Like, that's probably why I've never felt like this before. Yo, you mean like that deep love? Like that there's 100 people on top of me kind of love? So, shout out. I understand his pain. Well, I don't understand it, but I liked it. I thought it was represented well in the episode.
Yeah. So, Mark.
So I get why he's angry, and that is why he blindly just went and attacked this guy for no reason. But like, honestly, man, open your fucking eyes for a second.
So Alan gets the copies of the books and you take the Thetis. Although I'm pretty sure Thetis could also tell Alan all the weaknesses of the Viltrumites. But I guess since Nolan's gone on more like excursions, he knows more dangers.
I would say different excursions. I don't know if it's more, but different.
Yeah, but I'm sure Thetis is also like a fountain of knowledge for how to defeat the Viltrumite Empire too. But I guess the books are going to come in handy as well.
I feel like if Thetis knew how to defeat the Viltrumite Empire, they would have already done it.
I will say this: they hint to it when they go to the prison about how he was their greatest warrior. He's been on the most missions. He seemed like they have that exposition dump there, and that's kind of why he knows these little things. And if you look kind of too like in those two stories, the person who went with him to the Ragnar's died. So only he has this knowledge. So he's been on the most missions of Viltrumites.
That's what I was saying.
And so he has kind of the most knowledge of when he was in most danger.
Do you think we're going to see? We've seen Krieg, General Krieg. You think we're going to see Thrag before the season's over? You think they're saving him for season 3? I think, and they got to get like a big voice actor for him.
Yeah,
I'm thinking. Well,
I wonder who they would get for Thrag.
Well, I mean, maybe Andrew Lincoln, because they did get a lot of Walking Dead actors to voice. I mean, that'd be iconic for Robert Kirkman fans, but I don't know who they could get.
Oh, of some of the other Viltrumites?
No, for Thrag. They get like a big.
Well, when you were talking about other Walking Dead voice actors.
I mean, I thought Andrew Lincoln maybe, because he hasn't voiced anyone on the show yet, but I imagine they're gonna get a big name for Thrag. Oh, we got to talk about the new babysitter, who's working for what's his mom's
name? Cecil.
Oh no, well, she's working for Cecil, but she's a babysitter for what's the brother's name?
Oh, and she tried to, and she thought she was calling out that first one. It was just some old lady.
Oh yeah.
And she was working with Cecil, but then the one who was working with Cecil came up and just, here's everything you need to know about me.
I like it. She's
I work for Cecil.
Mm-hmm.
And just straight up from the start, I guess.
I'll say this though. So one, she could be trusting, or two, they could be like crafting. I mean, that's an easy audible to call. They have cameras in the house, right? So Cecil could easily just call her up right before she knocks on the door and be like, hey, she's super suspicious. So just go ahead and admit that exactly, right? Gain her trust by acting like
I'm sure they know.
So it might be
exactly, yeah. I triple cross because she's double crossing Cecil. She doesn't work for Cecil. Wink, wink. She works for Mark's mom.
Levy.
Wink, wink, wink. Right, but yeah, it could be a triple cross we see up ahead.
Also, she
nods one of those microphones nearby, right?
And she's voiced by Ally McBeal, or that actress. I was like, oh, okay, I know her, but I never watched that show. So we got to talk about the after credit scene with Angstrom Levy, who's he was we didn't see him last episode, did we?
Nope. I think it's the first we've seen him since the break.
Did y'all see him walk through the Walking Dead universe?
So with this scene, this whole episode, I was thinking, when are they going to bring him back?
Yeah.
When are they going to bring him back? And I was actually really upset when the episode ended. I'm like, oh my God, have we completely forgotten about the whole point of the season? Mm. And I was really frustrated.
I know, there's 2 episodes
left. See him come back, yeah.
They've been building it up.
See him come back in the end credits. I was like, yes, finally we're getting back. But still, I'm kind of like frustrated that it's taken this long to get back to the main storyline.
Hold on. Conspiracy theory. What if the animation and production was complete for this series the whole time? And you have to remember, we have to flash back to 2023, right? Like November, December, when the first half of the season came out. Dude, the community, was so fucking sick and tired of the multiverse. I wonder if they were like, oh, let's just say it's production issues. And then they just we'll release the first 4 episodes. And then the next 4 episodes, the last half of the season,
wanting it.
We'll say it's production issues. And in the meanwhile, we'll quickly scrap all the multiverse out of the second half of the season.
So I get it, but I don't buy it for one reason. If you watch the first half of this season,
yeah,
and you watch these last 2 episodes, especially the last episode, not so much this episode, the animation quality has definitely declined, and it feels rushed at times.
That's because they had to rewrite the second half to get rid of all the multiverse.
Yeah, but like, especially there was a scene in the last episode where Mark was talking to Amber, and Amber looked like really janky, for lack of a better word. Not because of whatever. Just the animation quality looked really poor all of a sudden. And there were times in the last episode where it was like, is this the same show? Are these the same, everybody? Because it looks bad.
What was that like from like 5 or 6 years ago? Like you could like make your own animations, but I forget the name of the company or the thing. It was like really shitty animations, but that's for people who like make cartoons but can't animate.
Saban? I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No, I forgot the name of the thing, but I know Harry Partridge made like a video about it. But yeah, that was the episode. That was pretty good. They're building up to Angstrom Levy or Levy, whatever he's called. But I'm pretty sure in the comics, like the first time he fights Levy, it's just like he just sends Invincible through some alternate dimensions.
I think we already saw that the first time.
No, not yet. I think like the first time he like kidnaps his brother. So I think.
The first time they really fight, as a super. Okay,
he fights Angstrom Levy a few times in the comics, so this is like for me their first encounter, or I guess second, because they already had their first encounter. It didn't end well for Levy, but let's move on to xmen 97. I don't have a clever segue. So overall,
Okay, can I just say first off, before we get into it, I have hated on X-Men so fucking I have hated on Disney Marvel so fucking much in the last couple of years. Not since the start of this podcast. You go back to the beginning of the podcast when shit was still pooping out gold and we're all fine and dandy, right? Way back when content was good, Major was happy, right? But Major's been pretty upset these last couple of years with this terrible, terrible bullshit I've had to watch it. That's why it makes me. I've had to watch it for the podcast. I've had to watch it so you guys don't have to, right? So I came into this all sourpuss. I was not expecting X-Men to be good at all. I thought they were going to butcher it. Like they've butchered every comic book adaptation, almost every storyline since Endgame. But I did think as I pressed play and that theme song started up, I'm holding my baby. And I thought to myself, God dang, this is kind of fucking cool, right? Like, I grew up sitting down on a couch with my dad watching this show growing up. And here I am as a father holding my daughter, watching this TV show with her. I mean, she's not really watching it. I don't let her watch the screen or whatever. But like I was telling her what was happening during the whole fight scenes and everything like that. And like it was just a cool experience as a fan. I really appreciated that. So I want to say off the bat, like I gave Marvel a big boost on the feels, on the vibes for X-Men 97 coming into it. So, Matt, you're a dad. What do you think?
I will say the same thing. My son was sitting next to me for episode 2 and was really enthralled by it, and I could see him getting like sucked in. And so I was just like kind of vicariously reliving my childhood through him.
It's so cool, right?
Yeah, it was great. Which it's kind of frustrating because I will say if we're talking about episodes 1 and 2 really quick. Episode 1, I felt that they were kind of exploiting my nostalgia. Whereas episode 2, I'm like, okay, I see where this is going now. So,
the plot definitely picked up
hopefully
a lot.
Optimistic, because the first episode I was watching it with my wife, and my wife's just staring at me like, "What are you watching? This is like embarrassing." And I'm like, "Yeah, it almost is." But then episode 2 pops out, and I'm like, sitting with my son, I'm like, "Actually, this is kind of cool."
I thought it was like I wasn't blown away by either episode. I mean, you can definitely tell the voice actors have aged since the mid '90s. So I mean, it's cool. It's cool that they're back, but
yeah, that's how time works.
I thought the dialogue wasn't that great.
It's the '90s. It's the '90s. Do you know how hard it is?
Better.
Do you know how hard it is to write '90s dialogue? I thought they nailed it. Like that, it's hard to write that dialogue that bad.
They never said bogus or rad.
He said not. We got the not. Cyclops did the not line. Oh no, my eyes! What can I do? I can't see everything. I'm done.
Well,
not.
Hold on a second there, Mister.
Yeah.
Remember Borat came out like what 06, and he's saying like
no, the '90s. No, the '90s did not. No. See, the thing with Borat is he was so far behind.
But he's taking lessons from a comedian. I don't
know. Major gets it, but where do I want to go with this? The issue I have is that at times it's super cheesy, and there's this really interesting storyline lurking in the background. Because if you read the comics, you know all about Genosha. If you read the comics, you know all about Cable and where he comes from.
TV timeout. And if you've been alive for the last 15 years, you've suffered through 2 Dark Phoenix sagas. Go on.
Right.
Well,
right.
They already did the Dark Phoenix saga in the actual cartoon tonight.
Yeah. Oh, it was fantastic. No, I'm just saying the quality. I'm saying the quality of X-Men has been crap for a decade on your television, and now here comes 97.
One problem I do have with this show so far in the first 2 episodes is to catch up on all the exposition. There's a lot of info dumps that feel kind of like, when Jean is standing there, she's like, the last time I wore this was when I was on the blue side of the moon, and Cyclops was fighting beside me. Yeah. There's a lot of telling, not showing.
Wait, was that an expo dump, or was that a nice Easter egg for the fans?
Yeah, but there's a lot of. I guess the issue I have is there's a lot so far of to catch everybody up where they need to be. There's a lot of straight up telling, not showing.
Right.
And that's a huge problem. They always say show don't tell.
Yeah.
And they're telling a lot of the plot to catch people up, which I get you need to do, but I just feel not to say I could come up with a better way, but I feel like there has to be a better way.
Is this show saying like season 6 in a way?
It is definitely season 6.
Yep. And so just so you know, first 5 seasons are on Disney.
They are.
But you have to watch them in proper order because Disney does not list them in the proper order.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Go online, and you have to
Why?
get a checklist. I think they do.
When Fox was carrying it, it's same thing with like Firefly. How they were really bad in the '90s about, hey, let's just show this episode, this episode, this episode. Let's wait 8 weeks. Let's just show this episode, this episode, this episode. So it's actually not in order according to like the way Fox aired it. Same thing with Firefly, and I think Disney has it listed in the Fox order and not the actual storyline order.
Like when it came up on cable or something.
Yeah, no. So like when
nice pun.
The order was supposed to be shown in. So
Cable.
I love Cable and Bishop. Damn right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Bishop's in this, but he really doesn't do much.
Now,
more.
Matt,
so it's kind of like it does seem a little too
Bishop
big.
saves Cyclops and Storm in the first episode.
He
gets the energy burst.
Let me go back to Matt's first. Matt's little thing here, because I don't know if you saw on the Disney Plus March 20 through May 15 magazine cover, but they listed the first couple and last, or they listed the xmen episodes. And for instance, April 3rd, Life Death Part 1 comes out. And then on April 10th, Remember It comes out. And then on April 17th, Life Death Part 2 comes out. So prepare for the same annoyance, because it seems like they're doing it on purpose.
Well, they're definitely like adapting some stuff I don't think was in the original show, but still from the comics, like Executioner, I think, is from the comics. He hadn't been adapted before. He's sort of like a Punisher, but he kills mutants or something like that.
He executes mutants?
Executes, yes. So it was cool. They're like adapting stuff that hasn't been adapted before, like from '90s. Although, are they allowed to adapt stuff that was published after the '90s, like Grant Morrison's run or John, what's his name, Ed Brubaker's stuff? But
do it all. Do you think? All right. So, do you think this is going to set us up for a live action X-Men, or do you think live action X-Men are going to be completely different from this? It's got to be different. We can't use the voice actors. It's got to be 100%.
This was done to, I guess, earn more goodwill for Marvel or Disney
and make more money.
The Marvel brand was sort of tainted at this point. But I mean, that's pretty much like what they've been doing. They've been nostalgia baiting for the last like 10 years with Star Wars and bringing back Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and killing them off. So
you have to recall
Disney, and don't forget Toy Story. They keep making new Toy Stories. So Disney's really into the nostalgia baiting. So I mean, I'm sure we'll get a Gargoyles season 4, and like I think they're also working on a Spider-Man '90s resurgence.
I thought about this. And so I opened this whole thing up with a little spiel about how special this moment was for me holding my daughter. And then I thought about it because
you're like, wait, I'm being manipulated.
Despite what everyone fucking thinks, I am an empathetic motherfucker. And I thought, what if this is how other people feel? So I've got a new look on reboots, right? And like Halo's wrapping up. We're about to talk about the Halo Season 2 finale. Fucking Master Chief is on Halo when he kills the ARP. We'll get into it. But anyway, like my childhood. I'm reliving my childhood in my 30s. People are like, no, you should be a grown-ass man. Don't be a man-child. Like, I'm sorry. It's just the shit on my TV is the same it was 20 years ago. My brain's so confused right now. But no, so like, I have a new... not a newfound respect for reboots or whatever, but a new appreciation or a new empathetic, merciful hold on my opinion. I'm not so harsh on them anymore, because you know what? Maybe Lion King was your favorite movie growing up, and maybe you just had a kid and you want to show them the new Lion King, and you want to go to theaters or whatever. And I don't know, but you're right. The Toy Story 5. With the gay Buzz Lightyear or whatever, that was dumb. Thank you, Chris Pratt. No, thank you.
So my kind of issue though is it exploiting us as a viewer, because they're not giving us quality, because they are using our nostalgia against us. Because, like I said, especially in the first episode of X-Men '97. I was really kind of bummed because I was like, I'm only watching it. I heard that credit come on. I was super pumped and I'm excited, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like,
oh, it was
is
similar
this
intro
good?
or
Is
just
this
like
is this is this good? Is this
Well,
good?
they seem to respect
Or am I
Cyclops
just
more than Bryan
just
Singer did.
yeah, but do I just want it? Do I want it to be good because I remember growing up with this?
Right.
And so, do studios exploit our nostalgia to come out with lower quality stuff they can just throw out there? Is kind of where I'm at right now because I feel like this could be better.
They keep on just doing
remakes.
It's nowhere near as good as
stuff.
90s series, but as we all knew, and it was never going to be.
So here's,
but I mean, it does seem to be going someplace. So
I 100% agree with what you're saying, Forrest. And Matt, you're spot on. But can I offer you a different? So there's your yin. Can I offer you a yin point of view, right? Just a counterexample. What if? Because I was thinking about this, and I'm just trying to be optimistic here. I'm gonna say I'm gonna be optimistic and positive, but I'm gonna start with this negative comment here. All right, have a great night, man. I do have a theory that just millennials, we just kind of suck. We weren't very well educated. We weren't well trained. We weren't well prepared for the real world. We're not very good at our jobs. So I wonder if this is what you're saying, if it's nostalgia bait and they're just trying to pull on the heartstrings of 30-year-olds, or have the same people we grew up with, aka us, the fans, have we grown up and now we're getting to the point in our careers where we are in charge of these products and we're just incompetent, right? Like
I know
this person has been working on there's a showrunner on Halo I talked about last episode who has been working on the Halo series for 12 years. There's no way she doesn't love the series if she's working on it for 12 years, right? But she's still pumping out, relative garbage, right? I feel my heart needs to believe it's an incompetency issue because else what's happening
I have a feeling,
here?
This is the So I debate this with my wife all the time. It's the fact that people our age are now in middle management.
Yeah.
All right, we've been there long enough where we can make decisions, but we're still overridden by Gen X and Boomers.
And scared Gen Z firing us.
So to give you an idea, like there was a BMW or Audi commercial a while back that played right here, right now by Fatboy Slim. Love that song. I love that people are in the position to make the decision to play that song. But now that I hear that song 20, 30 times a day, I'm like, I fucking hate that song now. Who made this decision to put something from my childhood into a commercial that, makes me want to buy a car I can't afford? So I think part of the issue is that millennials right now are in middle management where they're able to make these decisions, but ultimately we're referring back to people above us who don't get it and don't get why we're making these decisions. So I'm hoping in 10 years from now, we'll be the ones in charge, and it'll be all the, Gen Zers and Gen A's that hate us for not getting them. Eventually, it'll be our time.
I'm a little worried. I wanna like that. One day it'll be our time, but I'm a little worried that like 10 years is a long time away. If we keep up 10 years at this pace, you know how jaded we're gonna be when it's quote unquote our time. Like how America is a pendulum. It just swings far left and far right. I'm not talking politically. I'm just talking in general, right? But as a pendulum, I'm worried that if we do. If we keep swinging if the pendulum keeps swinging the way it's swinging for another 8, 9, 10 years until it's quote unquote our time, the pendulum is we're just gonna cut the string. It's gonna drop, and it's not gonna be fun. I hope if you guys are out there listening to us, I hope you fucking take 30 and 40-year-olds more seriously because we do know what we're talking about. We don't know how to implement our dreams. We need the older people for that. Okay. And we need the younger people to shut the fuck up because, look, actually, we're millennials. We were all super young half a minute ago. We were all exactly in your footsteps. You're all just like screaming at Charlie Kirk or whatever. Yeah, dude, we were just there. All right, we get it. And now we're on the other side. Just like, what is a woman? Like, could you just? No, I'm just kidding. But I did not love X-Men this episode coming out the gate. You guys are absolutely right.
Mm.
I was very positive coming into this because I see this as a season 6, really. And I hated season 5. Dude, Professor X and his stupid ass girlfriend, that shitty animation when they fucking send it off like overseas, like, or they change production studios halfway. I mean, it's always been overseas, but they change production studios halfway through. And then, did I mention Charles's shitty girlfriend? I hated that so much. So I was walking into this new season low expectations, with just the gratitude in my heart that I was able to experience this with my daughter in my hands. But then the plane exploded. Do you guys even want to talk about what happens beforehand? It means this, means that, blah blah blah. Who cares? They're heading. The X-Men are heading to Genosha, and then their plane explodes. Last critique before I just go full hard-on fanboy. You guys know what I'm talking about, the scene when their plane explodes and they're flying to Master Mold in Genosha.
Yep.
They get attacked by a Sentinel who's just floating in midair. He's got no booster pack. There's no jets. He's just a half a Sentinel in midair, and he attacks and blows up and decimates their plane. Go back and watch the scene. It's like, what is that guy even doing there? Who knows? But dude, this was the moment I rolled my eyes and I said, this is fucking stupid. I had so much hope for this TV show, and this is going to be so fucking dumb. And then the way they landed, by the time they landed, Cyclops fucking does his percussion beam all the way down to get there, right? And then he says, to me, my X-Men. I got goosebumps all over my fucking body. And dude, I'm telling you right now, I am not proud of that. I didn't want these goosebumps. I didn't ask for these goosebumps. I actively fought these goosebumps. But when he says, to me, my X-Men, dude, chills all over my body. And then how good was the fight scene, right?
See.
No? Eh?
I liked it. It had moments, but at times. So when Gambit's like on Wolverine touching his claws,
it's fucking yeah. No,
like, you get this. I get the issue I have is you get this brief moment of like, oh shit, they're screwed, and they're like, actually no, we're not, and they're like, oh yeah, actually we are screwed. Oh wait, no, we're not. And that was kind of frustrating, but like the actual animation and like the fighting style, loved. But as a quick side note, if we can all go around and say who our most hated X-Men was, because there is one certain X-Men I've always hated since I got into this series. Major, what is your
Jubilee? I mean,
do you hate the most?
Jubilee so fucking much.
Fuck you. Jubilee is the best.
No.
Robbie.
Rogue? Is it Rogue or Robbie?
Who do you hate the most of the X-Men?
I honestly didn't watch a whole lot of X-Men growing up.
Yeah, Rob hasn't seen 97 yet. Rob hasn't watched.
So reading the comics and watching the shows, I always fucking hated Cyclops.
Yes. Okay. No. That Boy Scout motherfucker. Boy Scout. That's Boy Scout, because he's Scott whatever. Scott Graves. Scott whatever. I mean,
because as a kid you
always he's the worst.
Like Wolverine. Yeah. Wolverine, the anti-hero, and then Cyclops is always the one reining him in. And
he's
so
such a goody two shoes. He's such a goody two shoes. I hate him.
So even now,
I'm going through like top, like least popular X-Men characters right now.
To this day,
they like Jubilee.
Yeah,
I love Jubilee. I've always loved Jubilee.
Rogue's
I have her
here.
No,
I love Rogue.
Kid Omega, Cable.
I love
Oh wait, these
Cable
are
and Bishop. Yep.
Oh, these are a mix. These are a mix list. It's not all. Yeah, I see. Rogue says beloved next to her.
Okay.
I thought it was a top like.
Wait,
hated.
Rogue is beloved.
I always loved Gambit and Rogue.
Kid Omega hated.
Yeah.
You love Gambit and Rogue. Oh, I can't wait to talk about this little love triangle coming up in episode 2.
And I don't like Morph, but I like Morph because of how he's triggering people on the right now.
No. That's so weird. That's not okay, Matt. take your hand out and smack it with your other hand. Triggering the right is not a reason to like somebody. Okay.
Yes, I've always
Wait,
hated
what
him.
happened?
Morph.
So
All right, so
because
Matt, you
in
want
the
to, yeah,
description,
explain.
they describe him as like pansexual or like asexual or something. I don't even know what they describe him as.
They call him transgender,
but
because he can change. He's morph. He can change into anything.
Yeah,
that is the good
he's
definition of
change
it.
Everything.
Doing
Yeah,
like
100%
the character from Vought.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, yeah, no, people on the right.
But because they describe him in the bio as that, people on the right are like blaming X-Men 97 right now. How dare you describe him? How dare you ruin our childhoods by giving him a proper, description?
Now,
so they're turning it into this whole social thing. So
the history of Morph is wild. So like, Morph died in episode 1 of season 1. Like the very first episode, they were like, we need some impactful beat. So they were like, let's just kill this guy. But the fans liked him so much they brought him back, and then he was evil, and then they made him good again. I really like Morph and his personality this season. As someone, Center, who hears you on the right, I'm just going to tell you to shut up. This makes perfect sense. He can change into literally anything. If there's one fucking person who's going to be this fucking way, it's that one, you fucking idiots. But X-Men, Wolverine runs towards Master Mold. Gambit gets on his back, charges out those claws. Morph turns into the Blob. Wolverine jumps on top of the Blob. One shots Master Mold's head right off. This is what we fucking call peak teamwork. This is what I've been looking for from the Avengers since Endgame. This is all we want is teamwork in this country right now, where we're so divided. All we need is a team to come together to beat the bad guys.
I'm seeing stuff about that they officially label him non-binary. I think it's
so.
That makes sense. Look at his face.
I mean, it makes sense for the character. I think it's just the label and how it's seen today.
Well, see, this wouldn't be an issue if there wasn't this is my hypothesis. It wouldn't be an issue if there wasn't 1,000 issues before this. If this was the first instance, we'd all look past it. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember how innocent that little lesbian kiss was at the end of Rise of Skywalker?
Related to non-binary.
Yep.
Right, you remember how innocent that kiss was at the end of Rise of Skywalker? Right, 2019. You remember that peaceful time where they just edited that out for China, and we're like, oh, you shouldn't do that, but we understand it because China's a big market. Like, shit's changed so much in 4 or 5 years.
Great episode of South Park, by the way.
Yes, yes.
So, next question, follow-up question.
Let's do it.
What character from either the comics or from the previous seasons do you want to see in this season? Major.
Apocalypse. I gotta see Return.
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
All right, Robbie. Haven't really watched it.
Yeah.
So, for me,
let me ask you, Matt. What do you want to see? Who do you want to see?
I want to see Forge and X Factor.
Okay.
Because Cable, forms X Factor. Forge was one of these characters that was like, is he with Magneto or is he with the X-Men? Is X Factor like? So I'm kind of bummed that we haven't seen Forge yet, but I hope we do.
He's a member of the Cheyenne tribe, so
yeah, he's indigenous.
Let's check some boxes and let's get this going, Marvel. Season 2. Let's call it. Let's go ahead and clip it. Call it. Forge is showing up. I like that a lot. Before we move on to episode 2, I want to talk about the writing in this, because you say the writing's bad. I thought the writing
is so bad.
I thought the writing was so good. Like, you know how hard it is to replicate bad 90s writing. like it's like it's an art form. Like it's a parody. It's an art form. Here, the episode. Let me finish here. Let me finish my argument, and then you can tear it to shreds. The episode is called "To Me, My X-Men," and you think it's about Cyclops coming into his own as a leader of the X-Men, right? I mentioned the scene earlier. He falls down. He says, "To me, my X-Men." I got forced goosebumps all over me. But at the end of the episode, we find out Magneto has been left in charge of the X-Men thanks to the last will and testament of Charles Xavier, his BFF forever. That's right, his best friend forever. That's how close they were, right? But he says at the end of the episode ends with blah, 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 the X-Men, this all belongs to me, my X-Men, right? So like the last 4 words from the episode, from Magneto, when he, the big cliffhanger, or the big twist, is to me, my X-Men. And that is also the title. I think that's very good writing. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I want to give Bo DeMayo the benefit of the doubt because I'm not familiar with this other shit.
So I think the issue I'm having so far with the series is that if we talk about writing storyline wise and where it's going, it's good. But at times, and I get that it's supposed to be cheesy 90s dialogue, the dialogue is utterly atrocious. Mm-hmm. And so except for that one instance, and I will give it to you how it ends on that, which I was like, oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah,
there were times where you're just like listening to them talk, like when they're playing basketball together right before he comes in, and it's like trying to be so 90s. It's hard to watch.
I hear you, Matt. Wolverine didn't say bub, so you're giving this a 1 out of 10, and I agree.
Yep,
you.
bub, right? No bubs yet.
No bubs. Dude, if they save bub for like the mid-credit scene of the season finale, I'm gonna be so mad.
So to give you like a kind of contrast, look at the episode of Invincible where the Invincible credit comes up this time, where Rex is like, "Yeah, that's because I'm a," and it cuts to Invincible.
Right.
I don't think we talked about that.
No,
scene.
we didn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because how about that scene when he just like, "Well, I'm doing great. What are you talking about?" Or something like
just blood just splurting out of his fucking head.
He's got a bullet through his head and hand missing. And jeez.
Yeah. So you have that
personality to just stick with that no matter what.
And I guess that's the problem I'm having too, is I'm watching Invincible as I'm watching X-Men. So I see this great dialogue, and then I see this X-Men dialogue. And I don't know if it's just because I have this kind of hatred towards Disney right now because they're ruining my childhood.
Let the hate
whereas
flow through
Amazon's trying to get me to bet on sports. But there's great examples, of good writing and good dialogue, Invincible, and there's styles of great writing that's hindered by its dialogue.
Well, why not watch the next episode?
Are we talking about Halo this episode? I was just wondering now that I'm
we're an hour and a half,
how much.
So,
we'll probably cut this off at the end of this, and then we'll grab the season finale with Forrest next week.
Yeah, because I haven't seen this either, so
I refuse to watch the
if you guys want to talk about this.
Let's just stop there. Do you want to stop at episode 1 before we get into episode 2, and then
that's cool with me. We'll do.
Guys, make sure to subscribe. We'll do a mini episode later on here in the week, and then we'll do the editing processing. So, boom, we'll come out for the next episode. We'll get episode 2 of X-Men and the season finale of Halo Season 2, Episode 8.
It finished off well.
Please, motherfuckers, I'm begging you, watch it, right? Just before you go to bed, put on Halo Season 1 and just hit play through the whole night. Before you go to work, put on Season 2. Guys, we need a Season 3. We need to get these watch numbers up. It needs to get renewed. Paramount Plus, it's free with Walmart Plus.
Get it over to...
do it! Yeah. Do it, please.
Yeah, it is. Or be Team Matt and just refuse. Don't do it.
You don't have to watch. Just put it on. Do it for me.
Put it on? Okay, fine. I'll put it on.
You don't have to watch it. Just put it on for... just put it on before you go to bed. Just like this. I'll tell you the same thing I tell my wife.
I guess
put this podcast on before you go to bed.
I guess I didn't help too much with Prime Wire.
As somebody who is still convinced that the whole point of this podcast is to make me watch stupid shit, I will do that for you. I will put it on, I will stream it, and I will go upstairs and go to sleep.
I appreciate that. Matt, if this helps you with your conspiracy a little bit, the Marvels and Aquaman and Blue Beetle are all out. We haven't reviewed them yet. So either that's at the mercy, or we were just waiting for you to reemerge onto the podcast for us to cover it.
So
Blue
Beetle, I'm convinced.
I haven't watched
do
Blue
a
Beetle.
live watch for.
Okay.
Blue Beetle does look kind of interesting though.
Yeah, I'll Gusta. Yeah, me Gusta. No, I'll see that. I haven't seen Blue Beetle on the big screen before, so I'm interested in at least seeing what that looks like. I like Blue Beetle in Justice League.
As long as we're not doing Madam Web, I will veto Madam Web.
Dude, what is happening to this industry to make $1 billion? To make $500 million. You just need to put Sydney Sweeney in a low-cut shirt. Maybe anything she wore to the red carpets, but no. Instead, they put her in these frumpy, up-to-your-neck fucking shirts the whole time, and you're like, why isn't this making any money? I have no idea.
Hey, guys, you like Spider-Man. Here's Spider-Man things, but not Spider-Man, right?
You see that thing about Microsoft? Put out a thing about...
Are we talking about my penis after seeing Sydney Sweeney and her outfits?
It said telling developers to avoid like curvy female characters.
No. What? Go on. I hate this.
I think I
for movies or for games? You did send me a link. I'm just trying to do this for the podcast. I want you to explain.
With game. Well, I was trying to pull up the link too.
Oh, okay.
Exactly said.
It's worth it, guys. If you're wondering why,
I only see it like I see PlayStation getting more sales in the future. Are people moving to play because Japan ain't getting rid of those curvy female characters. With their games, it seems like. Can
Japan make female nudity in their games? Because they can't do it. Like they have a really strict law against female nudity in the rest of their culture. Can they make female nudes in video games? I've never seen it. I don't know. I've never seen it. I don't know. Well, I guess subscribe. We'll find out. We'll answer this question next week on the podcast. If you don't know the history behind why Japanese why Japan censors all their pornography, we'll explain that too because it's super fascinating and very wholesome.
And why they're obsessed with big boobs. So,
I mean, because they're men. Everyone's obsessed with big boobs. If you're not, unsubscribe right now. Unless you like big asses. Then resubscribe. That's what I'm talking about, boys. Oh, there it is.
Yay.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. You can follow us on Twitter at Zealots Podcast, on Instagram at Zeitgeist Zealots, and the same for TikTok for the week that it's not going to be banned. Again, YouTube, probably where you're watching us here. We really appreciate it. If not, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you listen to your second favorite YouTube or second favorite podcast, we're here for you. If you're watching us anywhere besides YouTube, comment down below. We'd love to know where you're watching us. And we'll see you on Pornhub. Unless you're in Texas or Florida. Bye, guys.